mistakes to avoid early in a relationship. And that's when a lot of us make mistakes that just go send the other person running. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I want to welcome back Joni Caldwell Lerner, the motivational coach and relationship expert. Joni, thank you for being here again.
Always a pleasure. I love it.
Well, I think today we have a conversation that goes directly to the relationship expert hat. So put that
hat on.
Put that hat on. And that is mistakes to avoid early in a relationship. And the key thing here is early. Okay, meaning that you've been dating someone. It looks like it's heading down relationship road. Maybe you've had the exclusive talk or not, but it's early. The key thing here is early, and that's when a lot of us make mistakes that just go send the other person running.
Yes,
So
and there are a lot of them.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, it's really interesting. I've talked to a lot of your viewers. I'm coaching quite a few of them. And thank you for that, by the way. And thank you, all of you. But what I'm finding is these are highly intelligent, highly motivated, and wonderful human beings that all they need is a few tweaks. And that's what we're talking about today. These are not giant red flags. These are little things that they might be doing and not even realizing how it is surreptitiously driving the person away.
Right,
Or
exactly.
Obviously. Either
Or
one.
obviously, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because it's little things that it has to be pointed out to us. Otherwise we don't see it. And again, I'm pointing at myself when I say this. I can very much identify with. Let's go to number one.
Okay.
Confusing your new partner with your therapist. What do we mean by that?
Oh, well, that's a really powerful one. You don't want to overshare. The mistake is that men and women do this. They take too much information too soon to the conversation, and the other person's like, what do I do with this? This is too much. And I think people mistake being vulnerable or transparent or authentic with sharing too much information. You can be vulnerable, transparent, and authentic. You don't have to share deep, dark secrets.
Yeah, that is such a great point, because it does go to vulnerability, and we're going to have a whole other discussion on that. But what do we share? What don't we share? Because you want, as the relationship grows, you do want to talk about stuff that, how you got to be the person who you are. But early on, and again, those are the key words, early on, it really needs to be tapered. Otherwise, it's like, whoa, okay, I don't want to do this. So think about, if you might have done that. I know I have.
Well, and it is not their job. They're
Right.
not trained therapists. They don't want to, they want to be in a relationship where they can focus on moving forward. If you're constantly hearkening back to the past and you want them to fix you in some way, that's a huge red flag, you know?
Exactly. Being number two here, being too available. Again, that sounds so obvious, but it's one of the biggest mistakes that we make in early in a relationship. Talk to me about that.
Well, I can talk to you about both sides from a dating experience. Women, if we see somebody that's like, oh my gosh, this guy's head and shoulders above, and they want to energetically glom on, it's like, I don't want to get him out. Can't let this guy get away. Gotta, it's needy. It feels needy. And so what women have to realize is men from the time of caveman days, they need to feel like they're pursuing, that it's their idea. Now we shift to the man, and again, would love the feedback from the men in the comments. If they are texting, I just had a conversation with a client the other day, texting again and again and again, and this is early on, there's no established communication agreement where that's okay, then the woman may go, oh my gosh, needy can come from either side.
Yeah, one of the things that goes hand in hand with this too is not abandoning your friends when you first start. Is that you're available all the time. You want, you're excited. You want to be with this person, and all of a sudden, you quit doing stuff with your friends. I think that's a big red flag too. But
No, you're absolutely right. Because I want somebody with a fully rounded life. That makes them more interesting to me if they've got friends that they're doing things with. That means
right.
they're taking care of themselves and they had good boundaries. Please continue.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you. Number three, now I love this one, and it's such a huge mistake, maybe for younger people more so than us, although
Okay.
I know friends who are doing this big time wrong, and that is too many frequent social media posts that you're
Yeah.
constantly posting pictures and talking about your relationship. Not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. It's almost like they're trying to establish, look at me, I
Yes.
have a relationship.
Yep.
It's real. And
Yep.
the other person, male or female, would be going,
Mhm.
oh,
Ooh.
that's I'm feeling a little boxed in there. And it's nobody else's business,
Right.
right? Until it
Mhm.
is, until you together decide that it is.
Well, and this is something that we didn't deal with when we were younger and dating.
Right.
Yeah, don't put it all over social media. Here's one that we really have to talk about is ignoring major differences, meaning core values, stuff that's important to you, because you're so excited about this new person that you wanted to work out, and then you don't see what's really in front of you.
Yeah. That happened to me, where the guy seemed really great. Seemed really,
Mm-hmm.
he was age appropriate. He was established. He,
Yeah.
was funny. He had friends. He seemed pretty terrific on
Mm-hmm.
paper. Then he said something racist. And I went, so I probed a little bit, and it was like, it is not on the surface with this guy. It
Yeah.
is, 4 floors down or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
profoundly against my moral compass.
Oh.
And that was it. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Find out in the beginning. Everyone puts their best foot forward,
Mm-hmm.
and that can last for a while.
The other, living in the past. That is absolutely huge, and part of what that means is that you bring your baggage to the relationship, that whatever happened before, like say somebody cheated on you or whatever, that you're now bringing that into a new relationship and kind of blaming the person for something that they did not do, or certainly not yet.
Okay, so this is a next level idea. And
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this before, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this in a different way. I challenge people out there to be fully in the moment and to actually see the person as who they are in the moment, not who you think they are. And then don't bring Mr. and Mrs. Butthead into the conversation. They don't exist anymore. They may say, what happened with your marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it got to the point where I realized that I couldn't live in that relationship the way it was. So you can answer the question, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't go, well, he blah, 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 and
Right.
then he blah, 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 because that's a real stark indication that the person is living in victimhood and the
Right.
past.
Right, exactly. And that will run somebody off right away. So we have, like you said, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but you can't talk about it enough because people keep making these mistakes. This is an interesting one. It seems so obvious, but accepting bad behavior. Again, we sometimes we're just so excited and we want this to work. This person was terrific initially. Now you're seeing something, you start making excuses for her or his behavior to your family, to your friends, because he's embarrassing you, she's embarrassing you. And for some reason, just put up with it. Huge mistake.
Well, and that's always based in self-worth or
Mm-hmm.
lack of self-worth, a
Yeah.
worthiness thing. People will tell you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Listen the first time.
Right.
They will tell you who they are. Don't, sugarcoat it to go, no, they really are this. They didn't really mean that.
Yeah.
Right. We teach people how to treat us.
Right.
And if you
Exactly.
establish in the beginning that's okay to yell or
Mm-hmm.
to verbally abuse or to
Mm-hmm.
treat your friends or
Mm-hmm.
family in a certain way, you let that happen in the beginning,
Right.
this is a spiral down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, enough said. Just do not accept bad behavior. It's a huge
Do not.
mistake that is not going to work out. Presenting a mask. I know this is one of your favorites, and I think women tend to do this more so than men.
Mhm.
Is we want to please so much, we just become somebody we're not. We want to be that person that can please this new person.
Well, and this can bleed into codependency. I mean, if you
Yes.
want to go way down the road, at which point you get a therapist. But if you're just slightly doing, my color is green. I love green. I love to golf. I love golf. I can't golf worth a darn.
Right.
I know it's something you do, but don't morph yourself, chameleonize yourself. I don't know if that's a word or not, but don't turn yourself into a chameleon so that somebody will accept you, because eventually this is going to get exhausting, and not living in your authentic who you are will lead to, it could lead to illness. It certainly lead to depression. Right. It makes no sense. And yet we still tend to do this.
Oh, so, I did it big time. Big time. In a way, I still do it because I do get excited over things that other people like, and I want to like it, and there's a fine line between just being inauthentic and trying to find, genuinely enjoying something new. But I know that I have gone down relationship road. And when I think about it now, what I was willing or thought I was willing to do and where to move, and just stupid. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Getting exclusive too soon. We alluded to this earlier. Being overly demanding, pushing, just wanting to, somehow solidify this relationship. Again,
lock them down.
Really, lock them down.
They want to lock them down. So I want to make sure. But here's the deal, and I tell people this all the time. There are several places in the relationship, time-wise, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, a year, where you begin to deepen your understanding of who this person is. And each one is a little milestone, and you get to go, oh, well, that's okay though. I understand that. Or, wow, that's very interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Or, oof, oh, no. But if you locked it down too soon, you don't have the opportunity to really know who this person is in the world or in your life. Right. So now, having said that, it could happen at 3 months. It could happen at 6 months, where you just go, this person is a really great match, and I don't need to talk to anyone else. I'm going to freeze all my online accounts and just really be in this relationship. That doesn't mean I'm locking that person down. That means I'm choosing on my side what I'm going to focus on. Yep. And that I'm content, man. This is cool.
Good, great point. I think for women also, it's the sex thing more so than the guy. You want to be exclusive if you start a sexual or intimate relationship, or not. I mean, I'm not speaking for all women here, but I think that it comes up perhaps a little bit more. But it is something that can absolutely run a man off. Now, that being said, if it runs the man off, then good riddance. Yeah. Because around that issue, I would say. What do you think?
Well, and if they're both sexually active, they're both honest with each other, they're both using protected sex. We're talking grown-ups here, you know. Second Act TV has a bunch of grown-ups.
For the most part.
Full-grown humans, yeah.
Yeah. That make the same mistakes as we did in high school. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
You've alluded to this one earlier, not observing the present, that seeing what's right in front of, not seeing what's right in front of you, and always projecting to the future, to where you're kind of creating a future in your head that you want, but that's not really what's happening.
I tell people anxiety lives in the future. Hasn't even happened yet.
Right.
Depression and pain live in the past. So if you keep attaching to the stories that you once told, then now you're not in the present. You're here or you're there. This is not an easy thing for human beings to do. It is not.
You're right. It's very difficult to get that, but it's something that if you hear it, maybe it makes sense, and you can kind of analyze whether or not you're doing that. We're starting to come to the end. I want to make sure that we talk about this one. That is losing yourself in the relationship, that losing the connection with yourself. And again alluded to it, the codependency issue that sometimes, or perhaps often, people develop. And I want to talk about that just a little bit, like the signs of codependent behavior, because that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I ask the viewer also to look back in the history. Do I always lose myself in relationship? Do I constantly put other people first? Well, then you might want to take a serious look at that, because there are some fundamental beliefs that you have that led up to this behavior. And if you don't interrupt it, then it will just continue. Yeah. Nobody else is going to go, oh, I want you to take care of yourself and have boundaries now. They're not. They're going to say, I want what I want from you, especially if you're already in a relationship.
Yeah. In closing, I'll just give the 4 signs, and then I'll let you close us out. That you're unable to make decisions without input from your partner, that you do everything to get everything together, that you are afraid to say no to your partner, and that you feel responsible for their actions. So if any of these sort of hit a nerve, you may be,
you are not responsible for anybody's happiness. You're not responsible for their sadness. You're not responsible for their picadillos. You're just not responsible for them in that way.
And I just want to reemphasize, one, these are mistakes in a new relationship. A lot of this, once you're a couple of years down the road, might have a different, feel to it. But if you're just developing a relationship, really pay attention to this. Joni, what do you say?
I always recommend that people live from a place of curiosity, and that they approach all of this, all of life, but especially daily, as an adventure, not an end result, but the adventure of being present, of having fun in the moment, and being fully alive. That's the goal. And if you don't know how to get there, if you're going, yeah, that's easy for you, keep watching this channel. She's got so many good guests and so much good information. You do.
Oh, well, Joni, thank you. Thank you so much. As always, I will link to all of your information. Do get a hold of Joni. I know a lot of you already have. Make sure you tune into Joni's podcast, Wake Up with Joni. And I look forward to having you back again soon on Second Act TV.